my name is Sheikha Colette. Welcome to my channel. We have another episode with with Simon Says. This is baby on my left, and this on my left is another baby. Baby, introduce yourself.
I'm Tariro Merlin Mopoperi.
Welcome to Riro.
So anyways, how's been Zim? How's your day? How's everything going?
How are you?
Yeah,
Hey, guys, do you really want to know how I am?
Like, yeah, I want to know that.
You want to know how you're doing?
What's going on?
Zim is good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's challenging sometimes. It's so different from what I've been used to for the past years.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I'm going on.
So how long were you in Dubai? You're based in Dubai, right?
Mm-hmm. I was in Dubai for 5.5 years.
Oh, alright. Working for
Emirates Airline.
Okay.
So that means a whole lot of traveling.
Yeah.
A whole lot of traveling. I've been to
You can say whatever you want. The platform.
Okay, how many countries have you flown to in total?
I've flown to, I think, over 65 countries.
65 countries.
Yeah.
And,
over 65 countries.
How long do you stay there for? Like, how long is the layover in those countries usually?
Well, it depends, because some flights are turnarounds. We don't get to actually go into the country or leave the airport. We just turn around. So maybe I've flown to 65 countries, but I've been to around about 55 maybe.
Right.
Maybe less, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, in case you're wondering, Tari's an air hostess. She works for Emirates, and yeah, she's been in Zim for a
couple of months.
Yeah, a couple months now, and just catching up with her. So what got you to start? Like, what made you love being an air hostess? What made you get into it, basically?
Okay. I actually really never wanted to be an air hostess. I never thought about it before. I had some things that I wanted to do, but I never thought about being an air hostess. It's just an opportunity that arose. And then I was just like, okay, fine, let me try it. I was just sitting in the house actually with my housemate, because I was in Cape Town before I went to Dubai. So I was sitting in the house and she's like, I got a link from someone about Emirates Airline. They're hiring, air hostesses and everything. I was just like, okay, fine, let me try it. But it was not a dream of mine to be an air hostess. Yeah.
Okay. At that time, though, what was your dream? Or rather, what were you studying? Or you just finished studying?
I was working and studying at the same time. Yeah. But I think I really I've always wanted to be a singer. I actually used to sing before I went to Cape Town.
Really?
I used to do backing vocals.
Give us something.
Guys,
give us.
Did you sing in church or just like?
I sang in church. I sang at Hillsong Church in Cape Town.
Oh.
I did backing vocals for Pastor G, Amara Brown, and I sang in choirs and yeah.
She told me a bit of it, but in passing. I didn't think it was that deep.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you actually wanted to be a singer, not
I wanted to do music, yeah.
Oh.
And I've always wanted to study music, but I never got to. Yeah, I never.
So then you just got this
Have an opportunity, I'll take it too.
I'm like, I was so scared at first, to be honest. Like, I did not even believe it. I was like, when I got the job and I was doing the interviews, because it takes like two months at least, 2 to 3 months to get through with the interviews and finish off the joining, whatever. They do, like, they want you to send documents, you have to do like medicals before you go. So it takes a bit of time. So in that process, like, I just could not believe it. I thought it was a scam. I'm like, what if I go to Dubai and then I get taken to another country or something happens?
Yeah,
exactly.
I think during that time, that's when there was, high alert and that.
Exactly. And I was just like, what if
it's
one of those cases?
Yeah.
And then, but my mom was praying behind the scenes. She's like, you're getting the job. It's a good job.
Okay. Like I remember you saying that your mom actually told you got the job before you got it. Something
Exactly. So I ended up telling my mom, because I never actually told my family about it. I thought it was, to be honest, I was not even serious about this whole joining Emirates situation. So I ended up telling my family like a week before I actually left Cape Town to go to Dubai. So that's when my mom visited Cape Town and she was with me, staying with me. And then I told her, oh, Mom, I just got a job to go to Dubai. to work for Emirates and everything. And she's like, okay, do you really want the job? I'm like, yeah, I think it's a good opportunity if I go. How about school? How about this and that? I'm like, okay, fine, I'll catch up with my studies later on. And then she's like, okay, fine, let's pray about it. I'm praying about it. Actually, she had a dream before, and she ended up telling me that she had a dream about me. I was in the clouds, like somewhere in the clouds, and I was waving goodbye to her.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mom, bye, in the dream. And then she said, okay, fine, maybe that's what the dream meant, that you're going to be flying and everything like that.
Oh, wow.
So even like a week before I went to Dubai, she told me, I was worried about it. I'm like, what if I never get the call? Because at the end of, like, you go for like 3 months joining Emirates, like going through the interviews and everything. But there's only one call that makes you know that you got the job, that lets you know that you got the job, and that's the golden call. And that's what you wait for after all this period of, going through the interviews and everything like that. And then you end up waiting for one call, the golden call, to say that you got the job and you're coming to Emirates now. So what happened, I had gone to work in the morning. So I put my housemate's number on the form as well, to say that if anything happens to my phone, at least they've got an alternative number to call on. So they ended up calling my friend, because I think something happened with my phone, I don't know. And then they called my friend, they're like, oh, we're looking for Tariro Mupoperi, is this you? And then she said, no, she went to work. When you call her and tell her that you're trying to call Tariro. And then she actually forwarded a number to me, the Emirates number to me. And then I called them back and they said, let us call you back because it's a golden call. We have to call you. And then they ended up calling me back and they're like, hi Tariro, just wanted to let you know that you got the job at Emirates and you'll be leaving Cape Town in like a week or 2 weeks, I can't remember. But then I was just like, oh wow.
Okay.
That's nice.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
But through all that, preparations, you did say you had your doubts though, that maybe it's a scam.
Yeah, I had so much doubts. Like, I had so many doubts. I was like, what if it's a scam? Like, what if actually it is a scam? And I ended up in Pakistan or another country, And then, but then through the whole process, you've got, you open up a portal on the internet so you can log on and then see where you are in the process. So after all the interviews, they ask you to take pictures of yourself, full body pictures with colorful tops, and they tell you what pictures you should send to them. So I used to just send pictures and see where I'm at, during the process and all that. So I was like, maybe it's legit because they're actually following up,
Yeah. So after you got the job, were there certain principles that you were supposed to follow? Like, when we get on a plane, we just see those Emirates people wearing them, little hats, looking pretty, makeup and everything. Like, were there certain things, like rules, for example, you're supposed to have makeup on all the time, you're supposed to have this certain hairstyle, you're supposed to,
Can you have dreads?
Yeah, exactly. You're allowed to have dreadlocks.
I actually used to have dreadlocks. When I was in Cape Town, I had to cut them off because I was joining Emirates.
So you're not allowed to have dreadlocks.
You're not allowed to have dreadlocks, no. You're not
what if
allowed
you package them nicely at the back?
No.
Well, some people do it, but if they catch you, you're going to have to cut them.
What about like are you allowed to have like short hair?
You're allowed to have short hair, but not bold. They can't see your scalp. Even with my hairstyle, like if I put on braids, they do not want to see your scalp. Yeah, because they say it's not formal and it's not, up to their standards.
Okay.
So what happens is you go through, you join 3 months of joining Auntie when you got the job, 3 months of joining Emirates, and then after that you go through other 3 months of training. So you go under training for another 3 months. So it's like 6 months of waiting to fly.
Oh, yeah, that's long.
During that training part, I think I realized most people in Emirates, whether they're in the airport or they fly, they always have red lipstick on, they always have red nails on, they like wearing red clothes. Is it a thing that you guys adapt to? Or
you are not allowed to put any other, nail polish has to be red or nude. Or maybe clear nail polish. You can't have no nail polish on your fingers, and on your nails, because they can act. So back in the days, like when I joined, like 2 years after like the first 2 years, they used to have like supervisors. Supervisors would check your nails, everything, your lipstick, your makeup when you get into the briefing room. So before the flight, we go for briefing, the whole crew, and they're different, like it's a huge institution. These are headquarters, like a huge one, that before every flight, we all go to our briefing rooms. So imagine they're like 150 flights per a day. 150 destinations with different flights per day. So that's a lot of people and a lot of rooms and a huge headquarters. So you go there and then you do the briefing. And at first, when I first joined, I think the first 2 years, they used to like have supervisors check us. If you've got the nail polish, you have to have a watch everywhere. You can't fly without a watch. You can't, the lipstick has to be red. You have to have a minimum makeup of, you have to have mascara all the time, eyeshadow.
She's not even on a flight right now, but she's like that right now.
And the foundation and everything. So they used to check, and they stopped a bit for a long time. I think they went back to it, but they stopped. Because people were just like, we're not kids, you can't check.
All the time.
All the time, like I'm a kid. But anyway.
So on the flight, like, you know, are you guys allowed to give out your personal number? Personal. Let's say you see a guy on the flight, you know, guys with the back hitting on you, whatever, you know, asking for water he doesn't need, just, you know, let you come back. Like, are you allowed to give out your personal details? Like,
you are not allowed to give out numbers, especially in the Emirates uniform, because you never know what those people would do, like with the number. And we've had people getting in trouble like online, and you know, like exchanging numbers and then later on exchanging pictures, and then these people put your picture online and say, you know, stuff about you, about the airline crew not being professional or something like that. So to avoid problems, they just tell you not to exchange numbers with the passengers.
Not even Facebook, maybe.
Not even Facebook, nothing, no contact with the passengers. Yeah.
But do other like cabin crew members get it on the flight? Has there ever been a situation
what do you mean?
where, like, you know, let's say you and, you know, some other cabin crew, some guy who's part of the cabin crew, and, you know, you guys are cool, whatever, then the next thing you guys are, because you guys have their rooms, right?
We've got, bunk beds on top of, on the overhead, whatever, lockers, like on top. Yeah, they're bunk beds.
So, is there ever, have you ever heard of a situation like that? It might not be on your flight.
Yeah.
Oh, but for another company, have you ever heard any story like that? Like,
not really, because they're so tiny. It's not like a huge bunk bed that you can share with somebody else. I can't even move. I can't even turn like myself in the bunk bed. So for me to accommodate someone else, I don't know how I would do it. But I think I'm not sure. I've never heard of that.
But definitely in those different countries, huh?
Yeah,
when
you land, and you know what, to be honest, this job is so hard. It's so difficult to meet people that understand the job. Because if I meet someone who does not fly as often as I do, I'm always happy. Like, if let's say I live in Dubai, right? I meet someone in Dubai, I spend pretty much like 2 days in a week in Dubai. So if I'm dating someone and I have to see them like maybe, and in those 2 days I need to rest, I need to prepare for the next flight, I need to do this. You get so busy that you prefer dating other crew because you understand each other and you can also fly on the same flights together.
But you guys, like, I understand that you guys don't, you can meet just one, like, for example, you guys, we are like, you know, part of a cabin crew. We might meet each other once in like the whole, I don't know, year.
Yes.
There's a very slim chance that you meet the same person twice.
Yes, with these huge airlines, yes. Yeah. We don't fly with the same people all the time. So if I meet you today and we fly together, I won't be able to, maybe I won't see you in the next 2 years or 3 years. So we don't fly with the same crew all the time. It's always like, hi, nice to meet you every single flight. And I think that's the good part of it, because you get to know a lot of people and you get to engage with a lot of people from different countries, because it's very multicultural and cosmopolitan.
What about
I actually want to ask, doesn't that have an impact on your social life then? Wasn't it hard to make friends, considering that one, you're barely in Dubai to make and see friends, or even a boyfriend, DJ?
Yeah.
Two, if you're gonna see your partner for like in a flight one time and then the next time will be like after 6 months, how?
To be honest, the job becomes your life. It becomes it becomes your life, because the time that you see people actually is when you go to work. Because if let's say I've got a long flight, I'm going to New Zealand. That's 17 hours to go. And then I spend 3 days on a layover with these people, and I come back to Dubai for maybe 1-2 days. And then in those 2 days, like I said, I need to rest. I need to prepare for another flight. And maybe that another flight is to another country, like a whole different country with different weather conditions, different everything. So it is hard. You end up making the job your life, literally, because the only people that you see and get to spend time with are the people that you work with.
So family. Your family back home, you barely saw them also.
But I used to do a lot of Harare flights. I was so lucky to be able to do Harare flights, because people never used to like the Harare flights.
Are they allowed to trade?
We're allowed to swap flights, so a lot of people would actually ask me if I wanted to go to Harare. So I ended up coming home like maybe 3 times a week, or no, not a week, a month.
Yeah.
3-4 times a month. So I really got to see my family a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's nice, because I thought maybe. But now New Year's the Harare go. You don't want to go to Harare?
But the thing is, with the flights as well, so you can't. There's this thing about you can't fly to different continents in the same month. So although I would be able to swap flights, but sometimes it depends with the system if it lets you swap the flight, because they check for legalities and everything. So if you're not able to swap the flight, you're not able to swap. And let's say I came from New Zealand, I can't go to. I can't really remember where you can't go, but you can't go to certain continents at the same time in the same month. So sometimes the legalities won't allow you to swap flights, but sometimes you can. But most of the times I used to be able to swap the Harare flight.
Well, it sounds all so nice and so, traveling home often, seeing the world, meeting different people. But what are any disadvantages to that lifestyle?
A lot of them, actually. I can't say a lot. I really love my job, to be honest. I really enjoy it. I love traveling. It's amazing. Just waking up today and saying, okay, fine, today I'm going to Thailand. And then I used to do groceries in different countries. I'm like, okay, fine, it's cheaper to buy meat in New Zealand. So I would go buy meat in New Zealand. It's cheaper to buy vegetables. Put it on the flight? Yes, you can.
Really?
Yeah.
We're not allowed, right? We're not allowed to carry.
You are allowed to carry anything. Yeah. We used to put anything on the flight, and we've got the freezers and everything, so we'd put them in the chiller. But then, I used to do that, like buy cosmetics. Maybe it's cheaper to buy stuff in Thailand. I'd go shop for that. I knew like where I was gonna get my stuff from every time. So that was it's a very nice job. I really enjoy it a lot. There are a lot of some disadvantages. I can't say a lot, but the thing I was telling you, that it's so hard to build relationships with outside of work with other people. Like I used to have friends in Dubai and I would barely see them, because obviously I travel a lot and I'm not always in Dubai. When they're free, maybe I'm not free. I've got a flight. And it's hard to have a relationship, like a romantic relationship, because you won't be able to spend time with your partner and everything like that. And it just feels like, and there's a lot of judgments that we get as cabin crew from a lot of people. People judge us a lot.
Fact. When I was growing up, I was told that cabin crew, they're all partyholics. They're all drunkards, they just chop life, they don't save, they don't build houses, they don't do anything.
Exactly. But it's just a stereotype. You can't put everyone in the same bracket, because obviously I was not the same, I lived a different life. But you get a lot of judgment, and it stops people from actually approaching you and taking you seriously, because they're like, okay, fine, she went to Thailand, what is she doing there? What if she meets someone else there? And what if she's busy doing something else with someone there? It builds a lot of trust issues and everything. And also the thing of it's exhausting, to be honest. It's really, really exhausting. traveling and flying and all that, we're not always sitting on a chair, you know, waiting for someone to give people food. We are the ones who actually dish out food, and after that we collect everything. And some flights we actually have like 3-4 services in one flight. Imagine going all the way to New Zealand. That was the longest flight, and that's why I always refer to that. 17 hours of flying, and we've got 4 services on that flight. So imagine a full flight, and it was on the Airbus, the A380, and that's feeding almost like 600 people on a flight in economy only. That's not including the business and first class. So in economy, 600 people dishing out trays, 3-4 times collecting, and after that you do the final clearance.
Your feet must be hurting.
Exactly, and in between the services, someone is asking for a drink. There's this thing about people when they get on the flights, they want like a personal service. When someone sits on the flights, they think they're the only ones there. You know?
I mean,
if you don't give them the water they want in like 2 minutes, they're like,
Yeah.
why are you taking so long? But there's like 599 people as well, you know, asking maybe for the same thing, you know. So that's just, you know, the downside of it. It really exhausts you. It does.
But what happens to the food when like, I always wonder when we don't, like, for example, you know, there's always leftovers. Do you guys take the leftovers and put it on the next flight?
No, never ever. We don't do that. One thing that we don't do, like, they're so careful about, you know, like food poisoning and everything, because obviously that food is pre-made. They make it like way before the flight, and they freeze it and everything. So we can't warm up the food twice. So if I give you the tray and your food is warm already, and then you're doing something else and you ask me to reheat your food, I can't do that because it's not healthy. It's not safe for you. Yeah, I would have to give you another plate. And those trays, if there's no one on the flight, if no one decides to eat on the flight, we're throwing them away. We're not reheating and giving other people the food. No, we don't do that.
Has anybody ever died on the same flight you were on?
Not on my flight, but I've heard a lot of stories. I had a sick passenger on our flight, but he ended up dying like way after the flight. We were told after the flight because we were taking care of this person. He got on the flight and he was sick. And usually we usually look at people when they get on the flight. So you may think that we're not looking, but we're looking at you like from top to bottom. We're scanning everything. Yeah, especially when this is why they try to interact with you all the time. Good morning, say, how are you doing? When you respond, we can tell that you're drunk. We can tell that you're not responding well. That's why we keep talking to people and looking at you and, you know, analyzing everything. Whoever gets on the flight has to be checked.
Wow.
That's interesting.
And it's on us if we
just
let
be
you.
polite.
Yeah.
No.
I just be like,
It's a lot of things. Being polite and as well, you know, like, you know, doing the checking and everything.
So what happens when someone dies on the flight?
There are procedures. We are well trained for, you know, first aid and medical emergencies and everything. We're well trained on that. We've got everything that we need on board, the body bag, everything that we need on board to respond
So they'll
to
still
someone
fly.
who dies.
You won't look for a nearby airport. You still just fly to your destination.
If it's death, there's nothing we can do, to be honest. Someone is already dead. So we put them in a body bag, put them somewhere else. There's a place for that we put people, isolate them from everyone else. Yeah. But if it's in a case of death, there's nothing, there's no diversion. We only divert, like if there's only one case that we have to divert, and that's when someone is sick on the flight and there's no one else to respond to them. So I, as a cabin crew, there are some medications that I'm not allowed to give to a passenger because I'm not trained, and I'm not trained to give those medications to passengers. So if there's no other doctor, so after that, if it's something that I can't do as a cabin crew, we call out for like a doctor on board. If there's anyone who's a doctor on board,
Do they get compensated?
No, they do not. It's like just helping out. But there are certain things that we have to look for as well. Have they been drinking? Are they really qualified? Do they have their IDs with them and everything like that? So let's say we find a doctor and he's been drinking. He can't respond to that casualty. So we end up, that's the case that we have to, you know, like divert or go to the nearest airport, depending on if we actually do have a nearest airport in that situation. Sometimes you're flying like in a place where you can't even divert. There's nowhere else to go, then we'll have to make other plans. And we've got the ground staff to call as well. So before we even like respond to anyone, we go, let's say as a cabin crew, the first response is to go there and find out what's happening. So I take a sample, which is the symptoms and everything. We know how to take the sample. And then after that, I would have to call the captain to tell him that there's a casualty and these are the samples, these are symptoms and everything. He's feeling like this and that and that and that. A lot of things, to be honest, just a lot.
How come during turbulence you guys are always so calm?
Because I feel like if you've got knowledge about what to do in a situation, it keeps you calm because you know how to respond to any situation. Let's say there's turbulence and severe turbulence. I know what to do in that situation, so that's why we're always calm about it because we know how to respond to it.
Because there's sometimes when it's really shit, you just see them calm.
As in,
why aren't you reacting?
To be honest, there's a lot of car accidents every single day of your life. More than when last did you hear about an air crash?
Last year.
Last year, yeah, but before that, maybe a lot. Like you can't have air crashes like all the time. So it keeps you calm knowing that it doesn't happen often.
But have you ever had a near-death experience in a flight? Like when they tell you to brace. Have you ever had?
No, we had the only experience I had was a severe turbulence where everything was flying in the air. Literally,
okay, I'm dying.
The cards, the food cards that we, the trolleys and everything were flying. The cops were flying and the passengers were freaking out. So they're like, "Oh my gosh, so what's happening now? What should we do?" Everyone starts freaking out in that situation.
Okay, on the flight. I'm about to go on the flight. Let's talk about it.
Severe turbulence, and I think there was a situation on my flight when we landed at an airport, and then something happened to the engine of the aircraft. Some oil was leaking from the engine, and we ended up staying at that airport for. I was actually coming to Harare. I was so disappointed because I never got to come to Harare. We ended up staying in Lusaka because we landed in Lusaka and something happened to the airport. I mean to the aircraft, to the engine, and we never actually got to come to Harare. So we stayed in Lusaka and then went back to Dubai. I had a lot of groceries and stuff for my family. I was so disappointed. I'm like, I'm gonna go back home with all this that I bought for my family. Yeah. And the other one was there was an impact during landing, like a terrible impact. And that was it. And the aircraft was almost, going off the runway. And that was it. Nothing much.
That's crazy.
Right. But haven't you considered being on ground? Those ones will be talking to the captain. Okay, it looks like this in the sky. Maybe take a U-turn. Haven't you considered being that guy?
Me?
Mm.
No.
Air traffic control, right?
That's a lot of work. Like those people work a lot and they get paid a lot as well. They actually, get paid a lot. I think more than pilots. That's what I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I think they get the air traffic controller.
Because even just to get that license to do that, it's mad expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, those people work really hard because they're always attentive. They have to be attentive. They tell the pilots what's happening even before it happens. Like there's a bird coming your way. They're so attentive. They have to be, on point and everything. And this is why people have to switch their phones off during takeoff and
why?
Please, because that system is a radio system. Do you know what happens if you put a phone close to the radio?
Yeah.
It makes that sound, and the pilot cannot hear what the ground staff is telling them to do. So it interrupts with the communication between the ground staff and the pilot. So this is why they tell you to switch your phones off.
Always wondered why they.
Okay, but if you were given an opportunity to sing with Beyonce, or to work for not Emirates, maybe Etihad.
No, to fly on a private, people fly private, get paid more. Right?
Yes,
yeah.
I would fly on a private, definitely. Definitely, because you get to fly with celebrities and you get a lot of connections as well.
Yeah, that's
You can actually get a lot of connections
So no
on
Beyonce?
these. Beyonce
Rihanna?
can no thanks.
No, Mariah
the same as dinner with Jay-Z or
Carey.
what would you take, bro? Dinner with Beyonce or 500? Or
I'll take the money. I'll
fine,
take
dinner with
Beyonce. I
Beyonce
love
or
you, but
50,000.
I will take the money and multiply it
$50,000
for me to
I'll
invite
do something with
Beyonce
the
out.
money. Because obviously, if I have lunch with Beyonce, do you think she's gonna remember me? Like, like even
Oh, yes.
2 hours after, she'll be like, I just had a lunch with this other girl. She won't
Yeah.
even remember me.
Yeah, true.
And what can you talk to her about?
Exactly, and then do what with that? Implement
Exactly.
how.
And then
we're
tell
gonna get the
people
funds
that
to
I'll-
implement whatever she told you.
Exactly.
So, when you decided to become an air hostess, how did your other family members feel about it, considering the stereotype around, air hostesses and
I think there's a lot of judgment outside of Africa. That's what I think, because a lot of like Africans they want to be flight attendants, but because they don't know, like people in Africa don't, like a lot of people don't fly that much, so it's a wow job for them. But in Europe and other countries, they fly a lot. They know what happens on layovers. They know about layovers and everything like that. They get to like they're the ones who judge you a lot. But I think my family was pretty much proud of me and the people that I know. So very proud of me.
So when do you plan on retiring from that? Like, when do you plan on, okay, I'm done with this?
Done.
Okay, I've been home for such a long time now, and I'm thinking, what should I do? Should I go back? Because obviously, this job is nice. You get paid well and everything like that, and you get to travel. But I also had passions before. Like I said, it was not my dream to become a flight attendant. I had other things that I wanted to do. So now I'm thinking, is this the time for me to like follow my dreams or just go back to work? I'm not sure.
But
I'm not
if you do
sure
happen
If
to
she
go
do
back,
go back,
when,
If I do
what
happen to
age?
go back, I think I'll go for 2 years and then come back.
okay.
Alright.
So do you want to have like a family, kids, get married? Or you're more of the Miss Independent type?
No, I do want to get married and have kids, but I'm not sure if I want to do it now. Like, maybe not in the next 2-3 years, or maybe 5 years. I'm not sure.
Babe, how old are you?
Guys, I'm old, but I gotta take care of myself. I've got a lot of responsibilities, you guys. I've got a family to see, and I've got, So that's what I consider. Like every time I want to think of getting married, I'm like, should I actually? And I'm so scared of being married as well.
Why?
I just feel like, no, this is my feeling. I'm not saying.
Stop trying to protect us before you say what you're
Right.
going to say.
No, I'm saying that I've never actually. Hey,
What?
I've got this. I'm very territorial. Like I love my space. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to live with someone in my. I've never done it before, and I don't know if it's something that I'll go long term doing, like having people in my space. I don't know. Maybe I'll meet someone who's, like
Change that.
yeah, exactly. Maybe I'll meet someone who I love so much too, just allow them in my space like that. But for now, I'm just like, I can't even picture myself living with one person, like every single, waking up with that one person and, I don't know. But
So
let's
what
see.
What's your take on, like, would you rather have okay, you're scared of having, like, being stuck with one person, right? Would you rather, if society would allow, have multiple people?
Oh no, it's not about that. Like I said, it's about the space, not.
No, let's say it's normal. It's normal to do this. Like, it's normal.
No. I'm very clingy as well, and I want my person. I want that person to be.
But you want the liberty to be able to leave his house and go to your house.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Or maybe with my job, it's if someone is accepting of my job, that I don't have to be in the house all the time. Obviously, I'll be flying and coming back, flying and coming back. If someone is accepting of that, I would do it. But not a lot of people actually,
Yeah, because
accept of it.
them pilots be looking really
Maybe I
cool.
want to go and be an air hostess. typing.
If you're gonna be spending weeks and
Not weeks.
fly.
He used to
She'll
be
fly
home
for like
often.
maybe 3 days. In 3 days, she'll be back. After every 3 days,
Alright.
she'll be
Yeah.
back.
Now I'll be out.
And I'll be out.
That's how it's gonna be.
But it's a very hard
That's how it's gonna be, yeah.
situation to be in. You know, if you're married and everything.
Yeah.
Unless if your husband is also like into that.
Surely not.
This is why a lot of cabin crew end up being with pilots and the other cabin crew. Yeah, because it's
So that
easier.
means we already know your future now. We already know who you're gonna be.
Not really, because I'm not sure if I'm gonna go back. So I'm not sure.
Let's quickly talk about your side hustles.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do on the side? Maybe that you'd want people to support.
Oh yeah, so right now I've got a business that I'm doing. I'm selling clothes and shoes and everything. It's called Top Drip, so Godfather Top Drip on Instagram. And I'm also working for Money Links, which is a company that does transfers and money remittance in crypto and everything. So if you want to know anything about crypto, I'm the girl to come to.
Another question though. What's your take on, like these days there's a really high rate of divorce and stuff. What do you think is triggering that? Or what do you think is causing that? Like people just be breaking up?
I think the society right now, like we're so messed. I think it's for me. I blame a lot on social media. That's what honestly I do. I feel like there's this thing about social media. If you go on a picture, let's say you go on the shade room, right? And someone posted a picture of maybe Beyonce saying some things about her, and you go to the comments. Oh, sorry. And she maybe go to the comment section, right? And then everyone is commenting something about that situation, but everyone has their own opinion about that situation, auntie. You end up inclining to every comment. Let's say someone says, oh, she actually looks fine. And then someone says, oh my God, she looks like a, let's say it's throwing shade on her and everything like that. You end up inclining to everything. So social media is emotionally, without us knowing it, it's emotionally, what can I say? Like it's changing us. Like it has a way of messing with your emotions.
So what?
You know?
So you believe that people are now inheriting other people's
That's what I'm thinking.
Standards. Like, okay, a man's supposed to do this. If he doesn't do this, then he's not for me. And they see that and they're like, I agree with that. Then they look at their husband and they're like, he's not doing that. So I might as well,
And there's a lot of there's these things, especially when it comes to relationships and everything, marriage and everything. Like there's a lot of memes that say that if he's not, there's a video that I watched on TikTok like 2 days ago.
He's not doing this, then leave him.
Exactly. If it's not the one, leave him. Oh, if he's not doing this and that, leave him. Something. If he's no longer serving you, like if the relationship is no longer serving you, you have to leave. But that's not the truth, because people can actually, work it out. People are not being told to work relationships out. They're being told that if it's no longer working for you, leave. But that's not the case. That's not what we should be doing. We should be doing, spending time on thinking how we can work relationships out and everything like that. So I feel like people are easily giving up on relationships because of social media and what they're hearing on social media. I feel like people can actually work things out and people can live together for a long time, because people have differences. You can't say that you will move from one marriage to another. Obviously, every relationship has difficulties, and if you're not willing to work with that, then you're moving from one person to another, because people are different and you'll never find someone who's perfectly perfect,
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Okay.
Anyway,
Whoever asked you almost everything, do you want to ask us any questions?
Yes, guys, I've got a lot of questions.
Jesus.
So how's everything going, you guys? In the marriage and everything?
Oh, good. How's it going?
yeah, it's good.
Are you sure? No, I'm joking.
No, we good.
How are you finding, what's different about, being in a relationship and being married?
A relationship, you can leave the house and not come back later. But now I'm married, she must come back.
Mhm.
If he's not home at 8, I'm like, where
Yeah,
are you?
exactly.
But if we're dating, I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep. I'm home.
Mhm.
He said he's home.
Mhm.
What else? You just get used to living with the person.
Yeah.
I never knew that he throws his towel on the floor. And now I need to pick up that towel all the time. Don't leave your towel on the floor. Tomorrow, same thing. Don't leave your towel on the floor.
Mhm.
You see, so you get to see habits that you never really knew about or even thought about, or that you didn't think would bother you. Because in your relationship, you're like, oh my god, no, I'll cater to him, I'll pick it up, I'll do all
Isn't
the
it
dishes.
weird to live with a guy? Like,
Man, no, for real, like,
that's why I'm telling you guys, I can't even imagine, like,
Yeah.
living with a guy in the same house. How does it feel like?
If it was
The
normal.
cushions will be on the floor, one shoe will be behind, one will be
Yeah.
there.
Do you ever, like, freak out, like, if you see him maybe naked or...
No, I'm like, you fine. Is that mine?
Like, should I look away? What should I do?
Nah. That's the exciting bit about it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
You get to see that.
But the other things, you just get used to them though. And
Yeah.
then you also just have to remember that, okay, now we're one.
Mhm.
And, you know, we're just getting used to living together. I probably do things that he doesn't like as well.
Mhm.
I wake up in a mood and he wakes up happy. Maybe that annoys him. But you just learn to sort of accommodate each other.
Yeah.
And get used to, like, the habits.
Okay. Do you guys like the same food or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
Mhm.
Yeah. Apart from that Shona food you brought that
Yeah,
in.
like most of these strong
Yeah.
traditions.
We don't.
But other, like the rest, we cool. Like she enjoys the same stuff.
Yeah. What would you tell us? What would you tell someone like me? I'm scared of being married. What would you tell me?
I would say take it as dating but on paper, you know. Because when you get married, you don't treat your partner any different.
Mhm.
If anything, you even treat them better. But at the back of your mind, you still do the things that you'd be doing if you're dating. Still go out for dates, still play around,
Mhm.
you know. It should be the same, just that there's family involved now.
Mhm.
And you have to carry a certain image, obviously, because you represent him.
Mhm.
That's the only thing. But other than that, it should just you guys should be best friends like you were best friends before.
Yeah. Okay.
So she
So
was
what
like-
made you think? What made you say this is the one and this is the girl that I want to marry?
Very good, tough question.
I'm also
No, I think.
Oh, did you know before you? When did you know?
that she was the one?
Mhm.
I'm uni, like I think 4 years ago.
Mhm.
Wait.
Before you guys met.
No, we met. Then we were first
We're
friends.
friends,
Then
yeah.
we were just hanging out and stuff, and yeah, it was a long chase, and then eventually we got together.
Was she hard to get?
Yeah. So yeah, then after that, just the way she was just handling herself and just the way she just put herself together. She used to. I never used to go to church. She would tell me, like, yeah, let's go to church. You know, certain things like that. She would want to pray together. You know,
Yeah.
she would want to like just do things differently from what I was used to. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know, I was like, no, this is what I want for my,
Yeah.
you know, for my life, for the
Yeah.
rest of my life. So
Yeah.
stick to it.
What made you say this is the one? And when in the course of the relationship?
when we're friends, I still liked him. But you know when you're unsure, you're just like, I like you, but I'm not sure I want to go there. So the first thing that caught my attention was his persistence. He didn't give up.
Mhm.
Even when I was like, no, I don't want you, no, leave me alone. He would still keep trying.
Yeah.
And eventually I was like, oh, so he's not giving up. Ooh, that's nice. And his personality, it was different from what I would see when we're out. Only when then we started being close and friends. I was like, oh my God, he's actually better than I thought.
Mhm.
Because I was used to like seeing him out, you know, we're out with friends. But then spending time with him separately, I started to see like attributes that I liked about him, and the fact that he was always there, no matter the time. He is always there emotionally, spiritually, everything. And he would never just say no.
Okay.
He would, and he's a person who reasons a lot in a calm way. I'd be like, man, let's go to church, you know, you have to go and pray. Yeah, okay, sure, I'm tired, but
Let's go.
I want to go home, I want to go to my house, I can't sleep at a boy's house. No problem, I'll take you home, even if it's like 2 a.m. Why you listen? Yeah, sure. He's that type of guy who's always there. Even like when I got in the relationship, I was like, okay, let's just try and see where.
Okay, Simon, let me ask you one more question. If you had met someone who was not like that, like who was the same person as you, liked going out, no church, what, would you have gotten along with that person?
I would have, but I wouldn't have married them.
Okay, so you knew that you were not. Why? Because you were the same person as well.
Yeah, but I that's not what I wanted. Like that's what. Because come on now.
You were doing it, but not. It was not like.
We can't both be, bad. Like we can't both be. Okay, babe. Whoa. Like I just needed someone. Who just pulls me from going over there because I'll be out here. So yeah, no.
Okay.
I would have, but I wouldn't have married them definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, I never considered getting married until I met her. I just thought I was just this guy, have kids, and just live my life normally, without any stress, not having any wife or anything. I didn't care about that. But then I met her, and she wanted things done the right way. Okay, cool.
Yeah, when we were dating, he's like, yeah, but have you thought about having kids? I'm like, kids after marriage. The Bible says, okay, sure, no problem.
So I just, it came with her wanting things to be done the right way. Then that now just, was transferred
But
to
I'm
me.
proud
To
of you,
do
baby.
the things with this. So, yeah, I never really wanted to. Anything else?
Look at him.
I think that's a wrap. Thank you so much, Tari, for...
I wanted to bring the head so that I show people how to do it, like how to put in the scarf. Because a lot of people are just like, how do you wear this? How do you put it on? And everything. I brought it. I'll bring it another time.
It's all good. Well, thank you guys for watching this podcast. Don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe, and definitely comment down below and let us know if you would be a flight attendant.
Yes.
Thank you.
And if you've got any questions as well,
Definitely.
I'll be back on the podcast to answer your questions, guys.
Yes. Bye.